All right, everyone. We start off today, obviously, with the Trump assassination attempt, and it was an assassination attempt. It's pretty clear at this point. I like how they still say the alleged assassination attempt, the presumptive assassination attempt, the possible assassination attempt. No, a person walked onto the Trump golf course in proximity to the former president of the United States with presumptively an AK-47, although there's some confusion over specifically the model. I think that their intent was probably known. I don't think that there's really any confusion over that. But the legacy media is definitely parsing words right now over this. Ryan Wesley Routh. This is a very interesting story. If anything, it's more interesting than the former attempted assassination of Trump. It looks like they're just going to try keep taking shots, with their CIA assets until they manage to land a hit or something like that. Watch, they'll try it a third time and he'll survive that too. And he'll be like, Jesus Christ, how many times does this have to happen before we start taking left-wing violence seriously? And this was a leftoid. That is absolutely certain. There are some leftists out there trying to say, no, it was a disaffected Trump voter. That does not appear to be the case. We have everything archived, and here's the glory of it. 10 years ago, half of this shit wouldn't be archived. It would have been scrubbed. These days, though, because of the Archive Everything movement, pretty much everything is already there. This is what should be done. Everything that's posted online should be archived as often as possible. In text form, pictures, videos, things like that. Not just on archive.org, by the way, because right now they might go bankrupt because of their e-lending with books. Archive.is for the win, for example. And I'm taking a little bit of a victory lap because I can't imagine that everything would have been archived so quickly if it hadn't been for the popularization of archives. So I think that that's actually materially important. Otherwise, the CIA asset is withdrawn and quietly put off, and exiled to Madagascar or something like that, and nobody knows what the fuck went on. We've got all of the texts from Twitter, for example. There's a link in the description. This is from Laura Loomer. It looks like he was a Merc in Ukraine. You've got multiple messages that he sent admonishing public officials on various policies, so he was politically inclined. There's also a video, there's a Newsweek interview of this individual as well, which I'm sure they'll try to scrub offline too. Too bad it's already on archive.org and on people's private pages, so good fucking luck. This was a left-winger, strong supporter of Ukraine, it appears, possibly a member of the Azov Battalion, quite literally as a mercenary. The Azov Battalion being a far-left nationalist front. I like how leftists will say, well, no, the Nazis are right-wing. Yeah, their economic policy was real right-wing. They were totally capitalists. Yeah. Hitler was totally lying when he talked about the fact that it was a national socialist movement. Yeah, he lied repeatedly for 7 or 8 years, along with literally everyone around him. Now, as a socialist policy. Hell, the Autobahn was centrally planned. Just keep that in mind. I don't think that's exactly a capitalist move. Corporatism? Yeah. Was it right-wing in the economic sense? No, not even close. And also, then we get a backstory. Apparently, one of his neighbors came out and gave an interview, somebody in North Carolina where he's apparently from, and said, well, he seemed a little bit kooky. People were afraid of him. He owned a lot of guns. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're a Merc, you probably do have quite a stash and cash sort of system going on. I think that this was an individual that was fried out of their gourd, probably used a lot of the CIA super drugs. Apparently there is a CIA connection as well, which doesn't surprise me at all. Was fried out of his mind on drugs. He was convinced by the legacy media Trump is basically the retarded version of Adolf Hitler. If he wins, the country will fall. Well, if you've been told for 8 years that somebody is basically like Hitler or Stalin or Pol Pot or something like that, somebody terrible, and you've imbibed that message, at some point in your mind you're probably saying, well, you know what? Killing may be wrong, although, you're mercing, so probably you've killed people before anyway. Yeah, well, it's justified to slaughter them. It's justified to take that shot because, MSNBC assures me that if he wins, the country will go to hell. Everyone around me that I care about will suffer. I will suffer. The nation will suffer. The world will suffer. When you have that kind of messaging, it's not hyperbolic. The legacy media right now is trying to scrub some of the materials online that they've got where they've mentioned that Trump is basically worse than Hitler. I wonder why they're doing that right now. Oh, the article disappeared where Joy Reid compared Donald Trump to Joseph Stalin? Well, I wonder why. After 2 assassination attempts, it's not confusing as to the reasoning. They're doing this because they have whipped people up into a frenzy for literally years. It's been almost a fucking decade at this point that they've been claiming that Donald Trump is the worst thing that's ever hit this world. He's basically going to destroy the entire world. Now, of course, if you look at his presidency, he quite did the opposite, but we've been told that. Joy Reid has told us, the people at The View have told us, all of the other commentators, Ron Perlman has told us, Bill Maher has told us. Basically, he's a danger to society. Well, it's no sin. Like if somebody had shot Stalin back in the 1950s before he could, purge too many people, we would look at them as a hero. We would look at them as virtuous, generally speaking. But you're being told that Donald Trump is on the same sort of stage as Joseph Stalin. Now, he's not. That's not actual reality. It's bullshit. But you're being told that every single goddamn day for 8 fucking goddamn years. No, shit. Somebody tried to shoot him? I'm so goddamn surprised. The legacy media has partially caused this, and the lefties right now are melting down. They're like, well, it's unfair to say that. No, just a random crazy dude. While I think he was probably crazy, what happens when you tell a crazy person for 8 years that another individual is responsible for all of their suffering and for the suffering of millions and millions of other people, is terrible, evil, satanic, and gross? That crazy person might say, well, in their addled mind, hey, I can be a hero. That person is evil. Ergo, if I kill them, I am good. Psychological projection after a fashion. Of course, the legacy media shares a role in this. Big tech shares a role in this too, for censoring counter opinions with regards to Donald Trump. Left-wing politicians, Maxine Waters especially, have fed into this as well. Nancy Pelosi has, Elizabeth Warren has. Trump is Hitler, Trump is evil, Trump is trying to put you barefooting in the kitchen, Trump is going to destroy everything. When you say that habitually, if somebody believes you, and thankfully only a few people apparently believe it because only 2 people have tried to take shots, and to my knowledge, he may be the only president of the United States / former president that suffered 2 assassination attempts. I'm pretty sure that all of the others only suffered like 1. I think with W there were 3 actually. But only one of them counts because that was the only time that someone actually physically was able to get close enough to him to try. That was the grenade incident. By the way, apparently I was wrong. The grenade was unpinned, but there was a piece of cloth over the grenade to disguise it. And so the pin, it stuck and it didn't actually unpin fully. I guess that was the story. I looked it up the other day. I was interested in looking at presidential assassination attempts. Thankfully, most of them have been unsuccessful. It's predictable that the shooter would be leftoid. It's predictable that they would have CIA ties, allegedly. It's predictable that they would be, gung-ho for Ukraine or something like that. I didn't even bother making the prediction because it was so obvious. Yeah, a disaffected MAGA fan. Man, Trump fucked me on this policy. I'm going to go to his golf course and shoot him. That doesn't sound as likely as, hey, I fucking hated Donald Trump to begin with for some policy issue, for some ideology that he has, and so I'm crazy enough to set up a GoPro go to his golf course, heavily sated with, by the way, security, and try to blow his head off. Well, the latter is what happened. This is a leftoid. Ryan Wesley Routh is clearly on the left wing of politics. You know, whether we're talking about the authoritarian nationalistic left or not remains to be seen. There will be several investigations. By the way, another update. The FBI is investigating it. But DeSantis has come out and said Florida is going to conduct its own investigation into this. And that's a good idea because you're going to get a lot more closure on the issue from a Floridian investigation than from anything that you're going to get from the uniparty deep state. The FBI people are probably like, damn, he missed a fucking again? Time to bring in our third-tier CIA asset. The one with one arm or something like that. Eventually, they're going to run out of assassins. They're going to have to either kill or recall them all. Eventually, they'll run out of people that are willing to assassinate Donald Trump, and he'll be grinning ear to ear. That's about all. Peace out.